the way I arrange a classroom is based a lot on the physical space that I have to work with. And it takes a lot of creativity. But the number one thing I know is keeping in mind how much space you need for 4 to 5 children to be engaged in an area at a time. So my block area is pretty big because for kids to actually be on their knees and building and not knocking each other's things over is important. I think about how many walls are in a space. So if I'm going to want them to be building up against a wall or being able to lean against something, they need to have that space to do that. So I try to clump or try to mix together similar volumes. Home center and block area usually are next to each other for 2 reasons. One, they're active areas, and so I can have a teacher stationed there and observing a good large group of kids. And the other is because sometimes they tie in together. So our children will use the hollow blocks to build desks to write at in the home center or in the dramatic play, however we have it set up for the day or the week. I also think about traffic patterns. And so if an area has a lot of traffic through it, I'm not going to want to have kids building something that needs longevity to it. If they want to build a castle and leave a castle built, it can't be an area kids are walking through. And also I want to make sure I'm keeping in mind strategically placing shelving so that we don't end up with lap running in the classroom, which has been a challenge depending on what spaces I'm in. I have to say, even having been in it as long as I have, I currently still have lap runners, but it's 2 versus 19. So I also think about light. I like to have the art area in a nice natural lighting area. I like to have the discovery area in a natural lighting area, but also with some areas of shade, so the light table actually works for the way it's intended. I like to have a nice cozy area of circle time for the kids to be able to snuggle and cuddle and read with people of all different walking abilities and physical abilities, and use that space in different ways. There's things I like to have in every area, books in every area that are based on topics and interests. There's some standards, you know. I think a lot of teachers think our area needs to be by the sink, and I've had it by sinks and not by sinks. The number one thing by the sink is the sensory table, so the kids can wash their hands before and after. Tends to not happen if they have to walk across the room to do it. So thinking of convenience. Some areas in the classroom where we've made adjustments is a great question because we do it all the time. We have a unique situation where we share a classroom, so it's a different class in the morning and a different class in the afternoon. But what we tend to notice is if something gets shifted for one class, it generally works for the other class. Usually, as kids get in and start using the areas, our intentions do not always match what the children actually do with the space. So we move shelves and we include the kids in that. And so just today I said, you know, I'm thinking about switching the block and the home center. And I kind of gauge how the children are thinking about that. And they weren't into that. So I'm not going to switch it right now. But they decided where we would do circle this year. And we shifted it and rearranged it and moved it 6 inches this way and 1.5 inches that way and added a barrier and changed some shelving because it needed to be a successful circle area, not just in that space. However, we wanted to respect the children's desire to have it where it was. So there's some little tricks I have that I've developed in the years I've worked at Head Start. One of our requirements is that parents sign the kids in and out each day when they come to and from the school. And I feel that we do so much documentation in the room and we have so much to share with families when they're able to come to the classroom. So I put the sign in and out sheet in the back corner of the classroom so that families have to walk through the entire room to get to it. And it almost always, kids will stop to show their family a picture they're in or an activity they did or a toy they like. And it really helps to develop that partnership and that relationship with them.